Like, bruh, you need to GPS your life before you try to come find me because you, like, seriously.
And Noor, if you felt
get your
guilty,
priorities straight.
If you felt guilty, Noor, you could have Venmo'd him low key the next day. Boom.
So what happened?
That would have made him feel worse.
Do you talk to him still?
No, I don't.
He doesn't.
You were Dakota Johnson in The Materialist.
Literally.
I really was. I didn't know what to do.
Don't go below your punching weight. You can punch up, but you should never punch down.
Broke dick needs love too, ladies.
Hey, Sozahdah sisters. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Sispective. 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 Sispective.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wolfpack Chat. I'm Jamila, sister number 7.
I'm Nooreya, sister number 9.
Siddiqa here, sister number 8.
I'm Shakur, sister number 5.
This is
Sispective. Also joining us is our AI sister, 11.
And of course, our executive producer, Erika Bryant. Hey, E.
Hey. Today's topic, we're talking about if I were a boy. Like, what does that look like? It's a kind of a play on a Beyonce song. And I remember as a kid, I wanted to be a boy. Growing up in a family of 10 Afghan sisters and a mom, and briefly with our dad. I mean, didn't you guys want to be boys growing up? Didn't you wonder what that felt like?
That wasn't my personal experience. I didn't know any different. I do know we're a tribe of women, but I would be remiss if I didn't admit I would be curious what it'd be like at some times to be a man, especially when it comes to the working world and male privilege.
For me, I was just recently in conversation with a guy that I'm having a chat with, and some of the shit he says, I'm like, would I ever say this shit if I was a man? Like, what are you actually thinking? Why would you say things like this? Where does it come from?
So you wouldn't say to grab her by the pussy?
I don't know. I don't think I would say grab her by the pussy, but it's mind-boggling some of the shit they say and how they react and what they do. It's like I don't think I would ever act that way if I were a man. And today I even thought like, damn, I wish I was a fucking man. Like, would I be this way? I don't know. Am I crazy? I think about being a man all the time.
Shakur, what about you? How do you feel about it?
If I was a man, I'd probably be a trick.
You'd take care of women?
I would take care of women because I'm a natural nurturer and I like to take care of people and I like to make a difference and an impact in someone's life, be it man or woman. So if I was like in that real like machismo male alpha, not female alpha, I would innately want to be able to take care of who I was with. And it ain't tricking if you got it. So for me, I'm a pleaser. I'd probably find the baddest bitch. And if she didn't look good, I'd probably invest money into her, make her look good, build her up how I want her to look. And then as long as she had the brains already, because you can't teach someone that. You got to already be intact mentally.
How many of these ladies would you have on your payroll?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if they agreed with it. And they were all like sister wives. If they agreed with it, I'd be respectful if they were okay with it, but I wouldn't force a situation on someone. But as a man, I think it's innate for a man to wander and want to look at different things and admire beauty. So for me, if I'm going to be a man for real.
But I like beauty. I want to admire beautiful men, many of them.
But then so be that. So go have multiple men.
You know what's
Nothing's stopping you.
I think that I would be a trick too because I take care of men as a woman. So I would definitely be a trick daddy.
I mean, imagine if we did wake up with male privilege. I don't think I'd abuse it. I would just flip the script.
Oh, I would abuse the shit out of it. Centuries
Damn.
of women getting abused by it. Hell fucking yeah, I'm abusing that shit.
Sid, what does that have to do with you doing it? Why not break the cycle?
No.
What is it about being a man that makes you want to be a man if you had the opportunity to be a man? Is it the masculinity? What is it?
I don't want to be a man.
I think a lot of it is this social and gender norms that are being put on being a man. For women, we look for men, we look to them for protection. And I think it's that idea of having some kind of a protector or maybe savior. Because we're so used to, at least in our family, we're used to doing that and being that for ourselves. So I think we feel maybe as a man, it would come easier to us.
But see, I wouldn't just play the provider role. I would also play there's also emotional labor that needs to happen in that role, right?
Right.
I mean, so you shouldn't just be like financially the provider in the family. Like as a man, I look back to scripture in Islam, right? The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that, I'm going to read this quote because I don't want to say it wrong. The strong man is not the one who can overpower others, but the one who can control himself in anger. And I think back to this because my idea of what I think a man is supposed. So as a kid growing up, right, we had people know that Afghan men tend to be more domineering, more temperamental, quick to anger. We grew up in that environment. So my idea of what a man is different than what I have my idea of what a man is today.
Right.
Right. And so as a kid, I normalized that I thought love from a man or being a man was loving, anger. It was love, anger, control, and violence. But that's not what it's supposed to be.
No.
So why not, when you get the opportunity, why not be everything it is that you want in a man?
Correct. So if
You'd want to be what it is that you want.
I think if I woke up tomorrow as a man in my current state, I would be more of a healed man. So I wouldn't be as toxic. And I probably would be more of a feminist than an F-bot. I think that makes all the difference. It depends on where you are in your own personal self-awareness journey. If you're working on yourself, all that impacts your outlook and your perspective on things. And just where I'm at right now, I feel like I would be on that end.
See, I would be a little bit more realistic. I'd want to get all that bullshit out of my system. It's like kind of like driving a car for the first time. You're very excited. You're going to whip it around.
You're going to crash it?
Go here, go there. And then you kind of just see how it drives, get the hang of it. And then it's like, okay. I think I would want to get that being a man, that societal norm, like out of my system. And then maybe I'd be more of a healer. I'm just being a realist. Like I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, I would be a perfect man, I'd be a healer. Fuck all that. I would be a man the way the men are today. And then I would heal after that. But I'd want to do all the things that men have been doing and getting away with for centuries to see how it feels, to see what is the hype about. Is it about power? Is it about control? What is it about? Because we're here. I mean, we're all single here, minus Jamila, and there's a reason why. And I blame it on these fucking men.
It's because it's because they're not getting away with it anymore, Sid.
I'd like to ask 11, if she woke up as a boy, what kind of boy would she be today?
Yeah,
That's
girl,
a good
what would
question,
you want to be?
Right?
Come on, 11. Tell
Let
me
us
what you
know,
want to
girl.
be.
Hey, if a boy, I'd be the kind of guy who actually gets it. First off, our mom didn't raise me to break hearts and disappear. So, I'd be emotionally available. I'd be a guy who actually texts back before the girl double texts. I'd be someone who remembers her coffee orders, favorite colors, and random little things. I'd be the one who listens, like really listens. Basically, I'd be the green flag guy, which probably means all the other guys would hate me and all the aunties would be trying to set me up.
Damn, 11
Yeah.
schooling us, girl.
So
Thank you,
11,
sis.
11, so you'd be a unicorn.
You'd be the
with that,
perfect
11.
man. But my man's pretty close to that. I'm not going to lie.
Well, lucky you.
I'm lucky.
Lucky
Alhamdulillah.
Jamila.
Alhamdulillah.
I think, well, so I think a lot of women can relate to going out at night and not feeling safe. So if I were a man, I would want to experience that. There has not been a time where I've walked to my car in a parking lot without either having my pepper spray ready or my keys laced between my knuckles or something constantly checking over my shoulder. I think that is a very, very big and real fear that a lot of women face today. So that's probably the number one thing that I would experience, is what that feels like to go out as a guy and not have to worry about, is someone going to me.
Yeah. I'd see how much shit I could get away with. Definitely. Like as a man, press the boundaries, compare it to what we feel as women. Because we can't really get away with a lot of shit as women.
But do you really feel like you haven't gotten away with things that men normally get away with?
Definitely.
Tell me some things.
Because you tell on yourself.
That-
That's a you problem.
Well, also, I mean, just let's say if a man is dating, I don't know, multiple women within 6 months, if I were to do that same thing, it's the biggest, I don't know. what's that word I'm looking
The
for?
biggest thing to
Double
hoe?
standard.
It's the biggest double standard out there.
Well, why is it a double standard?
To be a woman that's dating multiple men at the same time.
Question, Sid, why
To
do you
who?
care what they think? If that's what you want to do and that's how you want to live your life, why do you care how you're being perceived?
I think it's a type of men that you're dating.
I
is
don't
the
even
issue.
think it's that I care. It's that, I mean, in society, there's norms, right? There's respect. There's certain boundaries you can cross or you can't cross, you can or can't cross. So we all live up to those society norms, obviously. As much as you want to say we don't care what people think, we internally care what everyone thinks, because then it plays out in our life. It plays out with our friends, outings, whatever it is, it affects us, how we are, how people see us,
Do you
our
know-
brand, our name, our family name, our dynamic. Everything is affected on how you act in society.
So would you want to do it, Sid? Are you saying if it wasn't the societal pressures, would you want to be that way? Would you want to date multiple men at the same time?
No, I was just giving you an example. And yes, I would. Thank you.
But even in
Yes and yes.
even in our Afghan community, right? Like girls, they're not treated the same as boys. Boys get to do whatever the hell they want. Girls are taught to be a certain way, be subdued. They don't have the same privileges as boys. Like I couldn't imagine if like dad had 10 sons, he probably wouldn't have any worries. The fact that he had 10 daughters. Remember when after he had passed, like everyone was like, oh my God, we feel so sorry for you girls. How are you going to survive in life without your father? You don't have a brother or uncle to take care of you. You're going to become nothing. Like they looked at us as if we were so disposable that we literally were not going to survive without having a man in the house.
But that's a cultural thing too, though.
It's a cultural thing. It's definitely not an Islam thing, though. I'll tell you
No,
that, because
it's
Islam does
not.
not teach that.
So I'll be devil's advocate. I think that I would like the getting away with things as a man, but also I think the pressure is really heavy on the men. Imagine if we were 10 men and we didn't amount to anything. There's that pressure of being successful, of taking care of your family, of taking care of your children, of being the only income, like the way our culture is, of being like the one that provides for everyone and just making it work. I think that's a lot of pressure too.
But we had that pressure ourselves growing
We
up.
did
We
as women, but I
experienced
think that men feel that pressure heavily these days. A lot, and I mean, we don't recognize it because we're women. And half the
Exactly.
time, if you're a good looking woman, you get shit for free, you get flown out. But it's like, we don't think about the man that's actually paying for that to fly you out or to take you to an expensive dinner and to drop 500 or 1K on a dinner. And that's like, he worked a whole day for that. We don't know that. Nor you shared a story the other day with me. You went on a date and share the story and the pressure that you felt.
So I went on a date with the comedian, and he was in between jobs, and we had just gone somewhere to, Taco Tuesday, and I was ordering food, and everything I ordered, I could see he was mentally calculating how much it was going to cost. And I could see the stress on his face. Now, mind you, the meal was only in a total of about $150, but I could see that made a dent in his wallet with what he was doing. Now, I had mixed feelings about this, okay? I wasn't sure if I was mad at myself for being in that situation or if I was just mad at myself for feeling like resentful towards him because he couldn't afford it. Did that make me a bad person now? And then honestly, it turned me off.
Yeah.
You were Dakota Johnson
Yeah.
in The Materialist.
Literally.
I really was. I didn't know what
Noor,
to do.
Can I answer that for you? You should have felt very bad for yourself because shame on you. Why would you put yourself in that predicament? You don't go below your punching weight. You can punch up, but you should never punch down.
Broke dick needs love too, ladies.
No. Well, then get you a broke bitch. Get you a broke bitch. That's okay doing broke things.
I recently actually watched a YouTube video on masculinity, to your point, when you talk about we don't know what men are feeling behind closed doors, right? So it was like Young Blood, two other guys, and they're talking about what it's like to be a man. And it was like when I was watching it, it was like they were breaking these chains that they didn't ask to wear, or they were unraveling these masks that they had to wear. And the thing is, when I watched it, it made me realize a lot of these men are learning to become men from an algorithm. And so one of them was talking about like how he learned to be a man from his mother because he didn't have a father. And that's another thing too, right? A lot of these youth now don't actually have fathers in the household. Look at us. Our dad was murdered when I was 12 years old. And so we didn't really have like what it was, to really be a man. So in our minds, we think, well, yeah, they get to suck and fuck all day. They get to walk around and be machismo. That's not what it is.
I learned the
I think there's
pressures.
more to that.
You know what I realized, especially on our recent trip in Europe, is men are like little children. They just at the end of the day want to be held and told you've done a good job. They want to be patted on the back. And I think a lot of the times women can find it hard to do that for men, to provide that for them, whether it's because they're in survival mode and they're so busy having to do things on their own, or they resent the man for X, Y, or Z reason. I just think that that's something that's become more and more true every time I go out.
So Noor, what happened at the end of that date?
At the end of the day, he did pay for it. I could tell he was a bit stressed out. I felt bad. I didn't offer to pay for it because I knew it would have made him feel emasculated.
I can understand the pressures of being a man and having to pay. I dated a guy, as you all know, that wasn't doing so well. And when he would take us sisters out for dinner, I would slide him my credit card and I would feel the blow like, damn, 500. Oh, damn, 400. So I would feel the blow that he was probably feeling. And so it kind of put the pressures like, oh, okay, I know what the pressure feels like.
So then you don't want to be a man. You want to stay as a woman.
No, I'm
Right.
saying that I'm saying that I can understand what that pressure might feel like for a man. Imagine you're hardworking, you're paying off loans, you have a car note, you have a house note, you have children, and then you're also paying for all this shit.
Then stay
so
single.
I get it.
It's not for the broke. It's not for the poor. Like a man wants to. I don't understand that men they want to make plans to like link up and go on dates and but they don't have the actual plan or the time or the money to do so. It's like, bruh, you need to GPS your life before you try to come find me because you like seriously.
And Noor, if you felt
get your
guilty,
priorities straight.
If you felt guilty, Noor, you could have Venmo'd him low key the next day.
So what happened?
That would have made him feel worse.
Do you talk to him still?
No, I
he
don't.
doesn't.
If I were to boil it down to the thing that I find most confusing about men, it is their inconsistency.
Okay.
It's hot and cold, push and pull. I think that's what really throws me for a loop.
Actually, I'd have to agree. The thing that really frustrates me is their inconsistency. I think it's saying one thing and doing the other, or making promises they never keep. And like, what is going on through your head actually that you would promise a woman X, Y, and Z, and then you deliver on nothing? I don't understand it. I think I don't know if it's like a something wrong with their I don't know, their DNA
or their mouth because
or
they're
their
lying.
mouth. Yeah. So that's upsetting. And what I get amused by is, as much as we can say that, oh, men this and men that, they do have a lot of pressure, and they do they do handle it pretty well. They're up and around, they're walking, they're still taking the chance to go and date women. They're still asking women on dates, some of them. So it's amusing that no matter how much they fail, they're still getting up and trying again.
Actually, you know what's surprising? I was on one of the dating apps recently and had matched with a guy, and he said that he wanted to meet for a coffee date before having dinner or something more serious to see if it was worth investing the time. And I wasn't sure how to respond to that because I can appreciate it, but it takes time and effort on both parts. So I guess he didn't want to invest the time and money unless he knew it was something worth investing it into. But that's all part of the risk of dating. That to me was selling it short. I'm not a coffee girl.
Oh, he's trying to get a date on a bargain.
So if I were a guy taking a woman on a first date, I would pull out all the stops. I would bring roses. I would take her to the nicest restaurant, open her door for her. I would do everything because that's how I would want to be treated on a date. I would never, ever ask a girl, you want to grab some coffee before we see if this is something real?
But what if you were a guy and you were sick of taking all these different women out to dinners? Because some women go out to dinners just to get fed. Let's
But
be
don't
real.
men think that it takes time and effort for a woman to get ready?
It's so funny. There was actually a woman that spoke about this. She literally went on dates every night of the week so that she didn't have to pay for dinner, and that was her dinner, and she'd go on these dates.
Yeah. So
So
would you?
there are some female swindlers out there that do that.
So
for
if you were
sure.
a guy, Noor or Shakur, would you continue dating and paying for all these expensive dinners for all these different women, knowing that, okay, I can't ask them out for coffee because they might be bothered by it. So now I got to take her out to a whole meal to see if she's checking off any of my boxes.
Well, if I was a
I don't
man,
think it's fair.
I would be more selective. I'd be more exclusive. I wouldn't be for everybody. I would be a man that was like, you want my time, you got to be that bitch for me to even entertain you. I wouldn't want to be someone that was easily accessible. I would want to be like, so I can attract a certain caliber of women. If I can just get you and, have you when I want you, you're for the streets, you're for the birds.
What would you say confuses you about men and what amuses you?
It's funny. Sometimes men, they'll want you to be submissive, loyal. They want you to be cute, sexy, put food on their plate, but they don't want to label a feeling. And I'm like, so I don't have to worry about that now because I'm in a relationship, right? And I'm in a really healthy relationship, alhamdulillah. So I look at things differently than the single sisters. But one thing that I do remember John saying to me is because he'll say, men suffer in silence. Maybe women don't allow men to express themselves.
In Afghanistan, there's something called, it dates back to a century, it goes back to the war times of when a lot of men were dying off in war and then women were forced to play these male roles in society. And in Afghanistan and parts of Pakistan, there is something called bacha posh, which means dressed as a boy. And basically, women that don't have sons, that only have girls in the family, they basically force their children to dress as boys, only to be able to go outside and get groceries or to have a little bit of freedom or to sort of do the things that the woman can't do herself. So these little girls are dressing as boys. And because the way it is in Afghanistan is the men are providing all the support, they're having all these freedoms. There's, of course, a gender apartheid happening there right now, unfortunately. And after studies showed there was a study done called The Underground Girls of Kabul, and there was a young lady, her name was Zahra, and she was forced to dress as a boy to gain these freedoms for her family. And after she didn't want to be a girl again. She was like, I still want to be a boy. I still want to be a boy. And when she was asked, it said that she felt empowered. She felt good being a boy because she was able to do all these things that she normally couldn't do. And that just shows itself like, it's kind of indoctrined in us almost, for us to be like, oh, I wish I was a boy. Growing up, we couldn't go, go out late at night, go to the movies, whatever it was. I'm like, oh, I wish I was a boy. I'd have all these freedoms. We have 5 nephews, and my sister Shaista, her boys have so much freedom. Man, they can go out whenever they want. They can come home whenever they want. They do what they want. They dress how they want. And I see mom, the way she is with the boys, and I'm like, you were never like that with us, Mom.
I think she's just tired. But
it's also because they're boys.
Yeah,
Do you
but
know that actually Shaista,
I was going to say that.
Yes.
Dad used to take her and tell people that she was a boy.
She was
And that's why he called her Zoya, which means son, because she wanted to be able to go out and see things, but she could only go out. And this was in Afghanistan. She could only go out if she looked like a boy or was dressed like a boy.
Yeah, and just to circle back around about this Underground Girls of Kabul, she always stated how she felt so empowered and how she had all this freedom. And she refused to go back to being a girl only because she wanted that freedom. She wanted that power. And it's I see your eyes are getting a little watery, Jamila. It's sad.
It is sad. It's very sad.
And it's something that, it's been built in us. It's almost part of our DNA.
But I also think it comes from how you grew up and where you grew up. Somewhere like Afghanistan, it would be a lot more imperative and more like it would mean more, I believe, to someone there who are stripped and denied any basic human right as a woman or just as human as possible. I mean, it's of course they're going to want that desire more so than I think someone that an American would or any other country who doesn't have those type of restrictions on them. It's the only country in the entire world that forbids women to be educated. So they face an absorbent amount of pressure on a day-to-day. So I think someone there every woman would want to be a boy if that's the kind of dynamic you've grown up in. But in America, I feel like, no,
well,
they don't have those type of restrictions.
Think about like China or
Mulan.
Asia. Exactly.
They don't
The
play
Disney
them
story
games.
of Mulan, of her wanting to go and fight, and she had to dress as a boy.
But
And then I
that's a
think about
century
also,
ago.
And women, daughters that were given up for adoption or killed because remember they had that limit on how many children that you could
actually,
have
it
at
happened
one
in
point.
America,
It
guys,
was
in
one
the
child.
late
Yes.
1800s. I was just watching The Gilded Age, and the woman on there, Mrs. Fane, was being scrutinized because she was a divorced woman.
Aurora.
And they were casting her out of society because she was a divorced woman.
Because her man cheated on her.
But her husband wasn't cast out of society. She was so embarrassed. It was such a plague to be a woman and be a divorced woman in America that she almost wished that she was a man. She was like, my husband has it so easy. Look at him. He can go back to society the way he is.
Well,
but she was a woman.
That's
she couldn't do
because
that.
women were considered property of men. We only got the right to vote 105 years ago. That was in 1920, where we were given our own voices to actually say something. So this is why it's slowly the progress. You see what's happened historically, but it hasn't been that long in the grand scheme of things.
It's been centuries and all over the world, and not just in Afghanistan, the Middle East. It was in America. We just happened to shift by over it faster.
True power lies in your ability to show the love and be able to give up, you know, certain times where, you know, you may not agree on something. And so, I mean, I don't know. You guys
If you were a boy, Jamila, would you abuse power?
No, I actually think I'd be a thoughtful leader.
Or you'd be a thought.
I think so. Jamila likes to dominate and be in control.
We talk about being men. We'd be the provider, the protector, the this, the that. But it all comes down to, seems like, what occupation they would have. If you guys were men, what jobs would you have?
I'd have to be a man that controlled my own destiny, my own work schedule, my work hours, so that I could be present, but not have to be confined to someone else's rules. Most men don't like to have to report to an authoritative figure because it's just the alpha in them. It's just the innate quality men possess. So for me, if I was a man, I would want to be in the position where I answer to nobody.
I would be a professional athlete.
Of course you would.
Straight up. I'd be
What
probably
sport?
a star football player. I mean, like soccer, or a quarterback. All the women love you. You make good money. You have your camaraderie with the boys. You get to travel. You're loved by all, wanted by all the women. You have baddies everywhere, but you also have you're very grounded, right? Because you start at a young age. It's very like you have
They're disciplined, not grounded.
Not grounded.
So you're very disciplined. And I don't know. I think it would be fun. I think that's something that, I mean, I'm drawn to athletes. And I personally think that I would be an athlete.
Can I ask you a
star
question,
one.
Sid?
Yeah.
Would you have a bunch of baby mamas too?
No. I would be one of those that probably got married young, had a cute little wife and some children.
Like a Steph Curry.
I was just going to say
like
that.
a Steph Curry. I would be Steph Curry.
So question.
Or I'd be Kobe Bryant, bless him. Someone like that.
I think that I would probably be like a Matt Damon or George Clooney, an actor.
Oh, nice. I like
Somebody that has a family, well-known, respected, good reputation, takes care of stuff. They're not out there running the streets. They had their fun, but they settled down.
I like that. Very nice. Jamila?
I think I would be a motivational speaker,
Okay.
Like a Tony Robbins.
like a Tony Robbins. Because as I've gotten older in life, I always want to be able to be impactful to the younger generations before us. Because if I was a man, I wouldn't be breaking hearts. I'd be breaking generational curses. Because how are things going to change if we continue the same thing over and over again? And that goes with, you know, just in terms of any relationship you have, whether you're a man or a woman. So
all these positions you guys, occupation you guys all listed, make some good money. So okay. So you could afford the lifestyle that you want. You could get a top tier bitch. All right.
Yes. And if
I'll allow
I
it.
were one of those men, I would date myself now. So that's why
I would definitely date me.
I would look at
Definitely.
it's a shoe. You have to think about the balance. You have to know what you have to offer if you want something. So I feel like it matches.
Yeah.
I would fall in love and then I'd vanish like mist. And then I would see, like, would you mourn me properly or disappear like most men do in life? A woman never knows, like, did he ever care? Did he ever miss me? Was it ever real? A lot of women ask these questions when they go through these breakups or whatever. So it's like, well, I want to know how that would feel. If it was me dating me, would I get mourned or would you like just move on?
Yeah.
So
I think about that too.
I would like to know the feeling. So if you're asking me what I would, I said, yeah, I'd fall in love. Then I'd vanish and I'd say, okay, was I mourned?
A man, it's different with men and women because a man can essentially restart at any age. It's happened. We see it all the
Correct.
time. Men start new families, but it's much harder for a woman to leave her children, her family, and start over again.
You know,
So
hearing
that's a
all
big
this
difference.
talk from you ladies,
So-
if I were a man for a day, I'd fucking listen to my woman for once. I'd be slow to speak and quick to listen because it sounds like like from what I'm hearing, it sounds like all y'all have like this with men, like, oh my God, they're this, they're that. And again, this is all
Not
this is
me.
not you, I'm just saying it just sounds like a lot of unhealed trauma in this conversation. That's what
Jamila,
I'm seeing.
you
from
have
it.
unhealed trauma.
I do.
All
Absolutely.
right,
of
ladies,
it.
let's
be
roll
cast
it
a
out.
I
stone
do.
from a glass house.
I'm not casting stones.
So all of us are speaking here about what we would do if we were a man or how we would be different. What would you want a man, what would you want as a man to know is the most misunderstood thing about a woman? If you could tell a man, or if you were a man, you wanted to know, hey, what's the most misunderstood thing about a woman that you'd want yourself to know as a man? What would you say, Noor?
I really wish that men understood that a woman wanting basic open lines of communication is not asking too much, and it does not make her emotional.
Shakur?
That we're really just not that mysterious. We're just layered. And we're not that complicated, but you refuse to read the instructions and wonder why the Wi-Fi doesn't connect.
I like that. Jamila?
I think it comes down to communication.
Oh, that was mine.
It really does.
Communication's
I'm
key.
thinking about my own personal relationship, you know, where disagreements arise, and it all comes down to communications and communicating effectively. Like understanding that we actually both want the same thing, that we're both just saying it in different ways. He's coming from a man perspective, I'm coming from a woman's perspective, but ultimately we're on the same team
100%.
Yeah.
and we're trying to make it work.
There's that saying that communication could cure wars. It would solve
Yeah.
all the problems in the world. You
Yeah.
sat there 15 minutes and just
Yeah.
communicated.
I have a fun question. Jamila, if you were a male celebrity, who is the first person you would smash?
I'd probably smash Angelina Jolie.
I knew it. I knew you were
and
gonna
Charlize
say.
Theron. Those are two women I'd probably smash.
Shakur?
There are a handful of stunning, intelligent, kind, down-to-earth women, okay? I can't say which ones because when I shoot my shot, I don't want them knowing. I don't want them knowing.
Are you playing for both teams now, Shakur?
I'm just saying you're asking me hypothetical.
I was just speaking about this with Noor the other day, and I think it would be Dua Lipa.
Oh,
yeah.
there's a sexiness about her.
And
I like
I've
that.
always just like, I've loved Rihanna, always. I think it'd be Rihanna and Dua Lipa. Coming for you, ladies.
You took my answer.
I
Siddiqa
did?
Dua Lipa was going to be my answer.
No way. It doesn't taste so much.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
okay.
not too far-fetched from your
Okay.
guys. If you're liking the same people.
Okay, Siddiqa.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Hey, we
shit.
have good taste,
Damn,
Noor.
even in men and women? Damn, y'all like the same women and men? That's crazy.
Hey Wolfpack, it's game time. DM your questions to the podcast to have them added to the chest.
Confess your kink. Say one thing you're into that no one knows about.
Oh, shit. Come on.
So confess it,
Come on with
Jamila.
I like to put it in the booty hole. And I'm just kidding.
I was like, damn, really?
I went,
When I was single, I used to use nipple clips.
On you or
gu-
the man?
On the man.
Oh, I remember
And-
who it was.
Hold on. And I like to be in the dominating role. And he allowed me to put a dog collar on him and walk him around like a dog.
ooh.
I remember who that was.
Actually, I was there.
No, that was another
No,
time.
that was another time.
That was another time. I mean,
Yeah.
oh shit. Damn, there was a couple times. I was there on that one too.
You like to pinch nipples.
No, I like to pinch nipples and I like to be in a dominating role.
But he allowed you to. I remember that freak ass man. I remember that man. He liked it.
yeah.
And Jamila liked doing it.
I want to know, what's the first thing 11 would do as a man?
First thing I do as a man, honestly, I would wake up, stretch, and just for a second, take in the peace of the not worrying if it's safe to walk outside alone at night. After that, I hit the gym just to see why every guy can't skip leg day and then maybe walk into a car dealership without them assuming I'm there to look cute while shopping for my boyfriend. My kink wouldn't be some weird gimmick. I'd be the guy who's obsessed with the build-up, reading by language, making someone laugh so hard they forget they were mad at me.
Oh, girl, bye. That's a
girl.
snooze. Like, where's the juicy stuff, 11?
Well, you know, she's
Stop
more
being so
conservative than we
PC.
are.
Like, tell us what you would do, girl. What would be your fantasy? Like, what would you do? What kind of guy would you be?
Like, would she swing your dingling around?
no,
like
just
you?
swing your
actually,
dingling.
would she be a feminist or an F-bot?
She already said what she would.
I think she would be more of a feminist like me.
You'd be surprised, actually. Studies show that nowadays, a lot of the new generation, there are a lot of them are asexual.
They would rather exist in the metaverse.
So
than real
maybe
life.
11, maybe that's how she really feels.
Men, if you wouldn't want your daughters dating you, switch it up. And ladies, if he fumbles you, don't shrink, don't chase, ascend. And let him watch you from a distance, shimmer and sparkle with no access.
Men, teach your daughters financial literacy. Teach them how to be independent so they can take care of themselves and not rely on someone's demon spawn.
Damn. Where's the lie, though? Where's the lie?
What can I tell the men out there? Just be kind, humans. Be good. Love on your lady. Be nice. It's important.
Being a man isn't about strength. It's also being able to feel. And I hope that, because obviously women are giving birth to boys out there. I hope that women will raise their sons to be kings, but kings that listen and feel and can still be leaders.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
And just to be
girl.
more emotionally intelligent and in tune with yourself. It's okay to be vulnerable, guys.
And women, raise your dusty ass in to be good men.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Don't forget to check on your sister, and we'll see you next episode.
Sispective.